Welcome to Sound Bites. I'm your host, Jennifer Chandler, and I'm here with the owner of Sugar Ghost Ice Cream and Bubble Tea, Mary Claire White. With July being National Ice Cream Month, I thought this week was the perfect time to talk about all things ice cream. Sound Bites is the Daily Memphian's weekly food, drink, and dining podcast. You can tune in on WYXR Radio every Thursday at 11 a.m. or listen wherever you get your podcast, iTunes or Spotify, or listen at dailymemphian.com. If you are listening on WYXR, up next you can listen to Sidebar with Eric Barnes. This week he's interviewing me and Tim Barker, the owner of Edge Alley, about the state of restaurants. But let's get started talking about ice cream. Mary Claire White, thank you for being here with me.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's great to be here.
So we're sitting next door to your fabulous, adorable, delicious ice cream shop, yes. Sugar Ghost Ice Cream and Bubble Tea. We're at the original location. We're actually in your shop, Falling Into Place, which is a gift shop next door.
Yes, sister store.
Sister store. Yeah. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
On Broad Avenue. I've just loved everything you've done. I've always loved this gift shop, Memphians. If you have not been here before, you need to come check it out. So many unique items and a lot of Memphis items as well, if you're looking for the perfect gift. And the perfect sister for it is this pink ice cream shop next door.
Yes, the fun little sister. Yes.
So remind me, what year did Sugar Ghost open? It's not been here very long.
No, October 2021.
You opened a sister restaurant, a
second
sister
location.
Ice cream shop last year.
Yes. So the second location is in Germantown at Forest Hill Arena in Poplar, and that opened August last year of 2023.
So about to be your first anniversary for
that
one.
Yes, we're coming up on first year for that one.
So I know what I think makes your ice cream shop so unique, and one of the things is that it is handmade, handcrafted ice cream done in small batches, unique flavors. You have gotten me out of my box. I remember last year I tried an ubi flavor, which is a Japanese sweet potato. And I was like,
purple sweet potato.
I do not know about this.
Yes.
It was so yummy. It kind of tasted like pistachio ice cream to me.
Yeah, pistachio is one
of the
notes.
But I love getting it. And there's something interesting in the case I just saw a minute ago. Is it watermelon cilantro?
Yes, that's the seasonal sorbet.
Yes. I mean, I love the creativity here. So, in your own words, how would you describe what makes Sugar Ghost unique?
Well, like you said, the homemade flavors, unique flavors, but I think the main thing that makes it unique is how much love and attention we put into everything, and not just the ice cream itself. You can see the love and attention in the space. You can see it in the employees, and then you can also see it in the ice cream and even the bubble tea. And we just care a lot. And so I think that comes through and really resonates with people, because that was always my intention. And then to hear people say that back to me without really knowing or understanding what my intentions are, then I'm like, yes, people are getting it. I love that. It means everything.
Well, we actually moved next door, everyone, to record here in the gift shop, because in the middle of the afternoon, it is a summer day, it is July, next door is packed full of families, and it's busy, and it was a little too loud to record.
It's busy and loud and fun and energetic and lively and all the things. Yeah, it's great.
So, Sugar Ghost, the name, how did you come up with that name?
So the location was actually a tattoo shop for about 10 years before we moved over there, and it was my neighbor. And he always I don't know if it was joking or if he was serious, but he always said that that space was haunted. And he even joked that the Falling Into Place space was also haunted. I don't know. But he just kind of said it was, insisted it was, whatever. So we were talking about names. I'm also a Halloween baby. So my birthday's the 27th. So I've always loved everything spooky, Halloween, whatever. And just thinking about him talking about that place being haunted, and then even thinking about all of the history and stories on Broad Avenue and Memphis in general. Memphis has a lot of ghost stories. So it just seemed to fit. Sugar Ghost just seemed to be just the fun, fitting Memphis style name that was just like a little bit gritty, but a little bit sweet, and it's perfect.
Yes. And definitely I would say it's like like Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Yes.
The sugar ghost here is the friendly, happy ghost.
Friendly, happy ghost.
Not the bad ghost, the friendly, happy one.
The pink kind.
It's very welcoming when you walk in the front of the door, and so is the logo, which is just really adorable.
Yeah, and that was done by a local branding company, Pretty Useful Co. They're just fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about the attention to detail, we're going to get into the ice cream itself, but again, this shop is adorable. It feels a little bit retro. It feels a little bit Midtowny. It feels a little bit modern.
Yes.
But it's a very welcoming space.
Yes, and that was also designed by a local designer that's with Collect and Curate is her company.
Was it Natalie Lieberman?
Yeah.
Yeah, she does a great job.
She's the best.
I mean, she really, it's interesting when you talk to her about that she really talks to her clients and finds out what their vision is. Mm-hmm. And every project I've seen that she's worked on, she really
just hits it out of the park. She always does.
She's nailed it. Mm-hmm. And as I said, the space next door is worth visiting, even if you don't like ice cream, just because it's really that cute and that adorable. So I've always thought of you and knew you beforehand as this little great gem of a gift shop, and kind of knew you did, you do candles. I knew you were creative, but ice cream, how did that come to mind? Were you a restaurateur before ever in your previous life?
Just a foodie. Okay. But I will say that when I first got this shop on Broad, I almost immediately thought, Broad Avenue needs some kind of sweet shop, snow cone, ice cream, something. And I told a lot of people thinking, this is an idea, I'm giving it away, like just, run with it. And 8 years later, nobody ever did. And when the landlord said, hey, your neighbor's moving, that space is going to be available. Do you know anybody that wants it? I immediately said, yes, I want it. Yes, I want to make the sweet shop that I talked about. And immediately knew I wanted to do ice cream. Bubble tea also was pretty much immediate with that because I've just always been obsessed with boba. And so, it was almost instant.
So, I kind of know the backstory a little bit on this, but I'm going to ask this question. Yeah. So, did you used to make ice cream at home? I mean, how did you learn how to make such great ice cream?
Pretty much, everybody made some ice cream during COVID. That was kind of the obligatory thing to do. And so was dabbling with that a little bit and then realized that there is just so much to it. And I wanted to know everything. I'm definitely a researcher, a dig deep type of person. I used to be a teacher, and just that kind of stuff just really gets me going. So yeah, I just started looking around and poking around and found an ice cream school.
An ice cream school.
Yes.
Who knew such a thing existed? And can I please sign up?
Absolutely. Yes. It's so fun. The one that I actually went to two different ones. One of them was in St. Louis, and that was like a week-long program. And I did that, and I came back, and I had lots of information. And then I thought, I think I just want a little bit more. And I found another school in Charlotte, North Carolina. I went out there toward the end of the summer and did that one as well. And I'm so glad I did, because that was like the final push that I needed to really get creative with some of my flavors. Because the first one was more just kind of the basics and understanding how the things come together. And the second one was more experimenting with flavors and understanding a little bit more about building flavors and things like that. And so the two classes together worked perfectly for me and helped me to really get things exactly where I needed them to be.
I mean, that sounds like a very interesting roadmap into not only starting an ice cream shop, but starting any kind of business.
I think so. Yeah, I definitely think so. And, people will ask me about like just kind of advice about starting businesses and how that kind of works. And my advice is always don't ever stop working towards it. So, you just start the research process, you start looking into some things. And if you ever stop, it's really hard. So it's just keeping moving, always looking. All these different avenues. Sometimes you get off track a little bit, come back to where you're supposed to be, but just keep on researching, learning, digging, looking, all the different places that you can find. And that's my secret anyway.
Let's talk a little bit about the shop. And this is the one I frequent, and I've only been out to Germantown once, so my memory is not as good, is how many flavors do you offer every day?
It changes. So our dipping cabinet holds 9 flavors, but we always have chocolate and vanilla in the back. It's always there. It's just in the back because everybody knows what those look like. Yep. We also usually keep our dragon fruit sorbet in the back as well, because we just don't have room in our nine flavored dipping cabinet. So we almost always have a seasonal flavor that rotates, and then we almost always have a seasonal sorbet that rotates. Sometimes there are 2 seasonal flavors. Gooey butter cake has really made a big splash, and everybody loves it so much that we're having a really hard time pulling it, even though we're trying to do these National Ice Cream Month flavors all this month. So we wrestle with those kind of things a lot, and moving stuff around in the dipping cabinet. And we're even talking about having some that are just available in pints. So yeah, it's just kind of changes, and it's a little bit of a struggle. It's a fun struggle, but I would say anywhere from 11 to 14 flavors at a time.
That's great. Well, I mean, that is because you have so many that people love. Mm-hmm. The idea of, at least if you can't get it by the scoop, you could take it home in the pint, yes. Which I think you should just get a scoop in general and still take one home in the pint.
Yes, that's a good idea. If you're there,
because you're not available in any stores per se, just in your own shop.
Right.
Let's talk about that gooey butter cake ice cream. So kind of talk us through the process maybe with that one, on how you come up with a flavor, and how you kind of, and were you back there making 12 batches and tasting? And how does that work?
Yes and no. So sometimes we use some of the ideas that we've had for other flavors and build or change, that works really well. But we knew we wanted, for this flavor at least, we knew we wanted to make the gooey butter cake ourselves. So that was kind of a big deal. And we did that. And then once we had that recipe down really good, we knew that some of the things that we wanted to add in and the base flavor that we wanted to make for the ice cream. And it really only took a couple of tweaks to get it really perfect. That flavor is just one of those ones that was just sent from the heavens. It's perfect. And it's, our number one flavor is always cookies and cream. And that goes for most ice cream shops. Tends to be the top flavor, but gooey butter cake has absolutely it's just slid right under there, under cookies and cream, which no other flavor has ever really done out of the gate like that. It's so we're trying to decide if it deserves a permanent spot. That's what happened with ube, actually. Ube was a seasonal flavor that people just went bonkers over. We thought, people love it this much, we might need to just keep it year round. So that's it might honestly bump ube, but what we talked about doing was making ube a flavor that stays in the back instead of the dipping cabinet, and then we can keep gooey butter cake in the cabinet. So yeah, we'll see.
That's crazy. So what is the base flavor? I'm going to have to go next door and try this when we finish, because I love gooey butter cakes, and I think it's one of those things that I kind of feel like that's a Southern
it's
type
St.
of
Louis.
Cake. Okay, it's St. Louis, really? Is that where it originated?
It did.
So, but what's the base flavor that you mix it in with? Is it a vanilla, or
is it a vanilla
cake flavor?
There is some yellow cake mixed into the batter. Mixed into the base of the ice cream, and then there's also some caramel drizzled through. So yeah, it's just really heavenly. And I just love, because we make the cake ourselves too, which we hadn't done with some of our other mix-ins before. We had purchased things, and we bought stuff from Muddy's before, and that kind of thing, which is great. But to be able to do it all ourselves is really, really cool.
Yeah, that's great. And again, I'm glad you said Muddy's, because it'll give people a point of reference if they haven't been here, that you're down the street from Muddy's Bake Shop.
Exactly.
And City and State Coffee Shop is just right across the street from you. Yes. That's where the location is on Broad. So what has been the most crazy flavor you've ever done? Oh, yeah,
that was hot Cheeto.
Hot Cheeto?
Yeah, we did that one for April Fool's Day. And it was supposed to just be kind of like a fun April Fool's Day flavor. And a lot of ice cream shops will say they're doing an April Fool's flavor, and it'll be April Fool's. Like, we're going to make hot Cheeto ice cream. April Fool's, we didn't really make, that kind of thing. So our thing was, we wanted to make it so that you had to come in to see if we were being serious or not. So come in and see, did we really make hot Cheeto ice cream? And the answer was yes. And it was a really strange ice cream. Vast majority of people were like, oh, that's interesting. Thanks for letting me try it, but I'm going to have to grab what I normally get. But we actually had several people who just went nuts for it. And it was spicy, and it was sweet, and it was creamy, and it was weird, and it had that corn kind of weirdness to it too. Yep. But it was interesting.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed that one. Maybe not.
Don't be that sorry.
But again, I'm here to attest that the ube, the sweet potato ice cream, is like the Japanese sweet potato ice cream is fabulous, especially if you love pistachio ice cream.
Yeah, we'll say, so when people ask about that flavor and what it tastes like, pistachio is one of the things that we usually say. Also, like, I even say brown butter. I feel like it has a brown butter flavor.
There's a nuttiness to it.
Yes, a nuttiness to it. And then some people will say white chocolate.
I can see that.
Yeah, which I think is just so interesting when people talk about what they interpret the flavor to be like. It fascinates me. And the taro bubble tea is the same way. People will I have an entire reel on Instagram of people saying what they think it tastes like.
That's so interesting.
Cereal milk, graham cracker, Fruity Pebbles, childhood. These are all the different things that buttery goodness. I mean, what does that even mean? I don't know, but.
You're listening to the Daily Memphian Sound Bites with me, Jennifer Chandler. And today we're talking about Sugar Ghost ice cream and bubble tea with its owner, Mary Claire White. We're talking all about ice cream in her 2 sweets shops. If you're tuning in on WYXR, keep listening for the sidebar with Eric Barnes after this. If you're listening through your podcast app, be sure to subscribe. You can also find our other Daily Memphian podcast, The Sidebar with Eric Barnes about art, culture, and more, Grizzlies Pod with Drew Hill and Chris Harrington, Behind the Headlines Podcast Edition, On the Record, an occasional political podcast with Daily Memphian legend Bill Dries. If you were going to make ice cream, give anyone tips for making ice cream at home, are there any tips or tricks that you learned? Is it whole milk?
The mix that we use is it's an ice cream based mix that is a lot of heavy cream. If you're going to make it at home, there's a lot of really great recipes online. Some of them use eggs, some of them don't. I think it's just really fun to experiment. Once you get a base that you like, then that's when kind of sky's the limit, because you can throw anything in there that you want to and just start to experiment and mix different flavors, just flavors that you would normally like. That's kind of one place that I actually started, was just thinking about, that's how the Mud Island flavor came about. It's because I said, I want to make an ice cream that is my ultimate favorite. All of my favorite things. So chocolate ice cream, dark chocolate covered pretzels, Reese's cups, caramel, more peanut butter, chocolate chips, and just throw it all in there and see what happens. And it's a great flavor. So that's my suggestion, is just think about what you like. Think about flavors that you like together. Even if you're one of those people that do like, salty and sweet, and, think about pretzels and chocolate and things like that, where you can blend things that are a little bit unusual, but that actually do really go together.
That's great. And so as far as like serving ice cream, when you kind of feel like there's nothing worse than you get a pint home and it's like super, super, super hard.
Yes.
So if I purchase a pint from you guys and take it home, should I let it sit on the counter for a minute? Do I pop it in the microwave for 10 seconds? You hear all these different things. Yeah. What would you say would be the best thing to do with your ice cream if we brought it home?
So it depends on how cold your freezer is. Most home freezers usually sit around 0 degrees, which is a great temperature to store ice cream. If you're if you have the time to let it sit out on the counter, that's usually the best way. And for a pint, I would say maybe 5 to 10 minutes is plenty. If you're time crunched, you can pop it in the microwave for I would say maybe 15, 20 seconds at a time, and then check it. But for our ice cream cakes, we usually recommend that those sit out for about 20 to 30 minutes before you try to cut them. So those are really good things. One thing I want to say about having pints in your freezer is, if you've ever noticed that your ice cream has that weird crunch to it, it's those ice crystals. So that's ice cream that has frozen and melted and frozen and melted over and over. Every time that happens, the ice crystals grow a little bit bigger, and that's how they become more and more noticeable. Basically, when you open your freezer and you're getting stuff out, that ice cream that's in your freezer is going to melt just a little bit. When you close the freezer, it's going to freeze back up, and that's going to create those ice crystals. So you always want to store your ice cream as far back in the freezer as you possibly can, so that it doesn't react to that warm air that's coming in, and you just kind of keep it tucked away. And then even getting like a piece of saran wrap and squishing it down and pressing it around the ice cream before you put the lid back on it will help a little bit too.
Those are 2 tips that I did not know, and I love ice cream.
Yes.
And always have it in my freezer.
Good,
so now I know.
The flavor is still the same. It's just going to be that mouthfeel, that texture of the ice crystal. So if you're trying to avoid those,
creamy.
You want always that light, airy, creamy, because that's what ice cream is. It's a lot of air fluffed into the mix, and that's what makes it so incredible.
Yeah, and makes yours is super creamy.
Yes, we love that
more so than what you would say store bought. You can tell it's homemade. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And definitely has a difference. And so you guys serve in addition to ice cream. So obviously you can get scoops of ice cream in a cup or a cone, but you have also you do the cakes, and I know you do something with like taco stuff with ice cream.
Yes. So I guess it was year before last. Choco tacos, like the kind that you would get from the ice cream truck, were discontinued. And when I heard that, I thought, the end of an era. Like how did they? Who was in the boardroom when that decision was made? I just can't even imagine how that happened. But I thought, we have all the components to make those. So we make our own waffle cones. So we just made a form to create a taco shell. And then we put the soft serve vanilla into the taco shell. And then we have the soft serve dip, the chocolate soft serve dip. And we dip the whole top of it in that and then sprinkle those chopped peanuts on top. And you have a choco taco.
That
and it's perfect.
Awesome.
It's so good. They're incredible.
I'm so glad that you mentioned. I don't know how I forgot to discuss this because we were talking about this earlier. We were trying to think, does anyone in the city of limits of Memphis do the soft served dipped ice cream cones?
Yeah, I don't.
And I think you may be the only one.
We might be, and we definitely didn't set out to be the only ones, but I think at this point we might be. And they're really good.
They are really good. It's completely nostalgic.
Yes.
Makes you step back in time.
Yes.
That was my go-to at Dairy Queen growing up, for sure.
Me too.
And I know I have to try yours because I know it's probably even better. Because it's probably real ice cream, and who knows what's in Dairy Queens.
Yeah, we don't know. But yes, ours is.
But the day I found out that Wendy's Frosties was non-dairy, I was old enough to go, wait, I thought that was ice cream. It's non-dairy. Oh, I don't even want to know what's in there. Even though they are good every once in a while, I still don't want to know what's in there. Bubble tea. So I know this is not ice cream, but you do have a whole bubble tea side of your menu here. Yeah. So let's talk about bubble tea.
It's just such a fun thing. So Memphis we got our first bubble tea shop in, I think it was 2008. And my best friend lives in California. And so she told me, as soon as you guys get a bubble tea shop, you're going to die because it's so good. You're going to love it. So when we got ours, I immediately went and became obsessed right away. And it became kind of something that my daughter and I did together and just really loved. So we would go to the different shops in Memphis that opened over the years. And then when we would travel, we would always try bubble tea in other places. And it's just a really fun, special, cool, different, interesting treat. And I've just always loved it so much and just thought that it was just so interesting. And I just love everything about it. So we knew that had to be part of our menu. And the thing is, I'm not trying to be a boba shop. I'm trying to be an ice cream shop that has this other option. And so it's interesting because you think about people that don't know what it is, but that come in for ice cream. And then they get the little education about bubble tea or boba and what that is. And so we're just kind of offering this service to people, something that they would never know. Because if they saw a boba shop, they're not going to go in. They don't know what that is, but they come in the ice cream and then they see the boba. And what is bubble tea? What is boba? And, we're just so excited to share that different treat with people who are coming in for ice cream.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it really is an experience when you go in there. And one of the things I wanted to shout out is you guys do special events or kind of during the holidays. It's not, you guys really embrace being part of the community and inviting people in when we talked about the Flaming Hot Cheeto ice cream and things like that. It's funny because July is National Ice Cream Month. Yes. And within July, there happens to be a National Ice Cream Day, which was last Sunday. Yes. And what did you do last Sunday?
We had the prize wheel. We gave away free mini scoops for an hour during the day. We had Elsa and Spider-Man come by and visit, and just lots of fun and just celebrating the day and people just coming out. I mean, any national whatever day is going to bring people out because people just love to. It's just a fun way to interact.
Yes. I love it. It makes it such a special place to come.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you, I know this is like probably asking a mom who her favorite child is.
Oh, no. I know this question.
Oh, yes. What is your favorite? Well, let's do both. What is your go-to order for ice cream, and then what's your go-to order for the bubble tea?
Well, let me do the easy one first. Bubble tea is super easy. It's a classic black milk tea with boba. And I have a really hard time straying away from that. And I always encourage people to try different stuff, but then I'm the perfect example of not doing that. So I hate that about myself, but I just love it so much. I can't not get it. Yeah. So I always say, if you're under 30, go for the brown sugar milk tea. If you're over 30, go for the classic black milk tea.
Good to know.
And that's just for like, if you've never tried it before and you just want to try it, those are the two the way that I differentiate what you'll like. And then for the ice cream, honestly, it really does change. It's kind of like my candles too. I don't have a favorite candle fragrance that we make. It just changes, and it just kind of sometimes changes for the season. Sometimes it just changes for like the new things that we make. Almost always the newest flavor is the one that I'm liking. So the one that we have right now, the last flavor for National Ice Cream Month, is we brought back an old favorite, which is nut and butter. And that is the crushed Nutter Butter cookies in Nutella ice cream.
Oh my.
Yeah. It's really, really good. And we even did like a little poll with our employees, which is your favorite seasonal flavor, and that one always won. So we thought, okay, that'll be a way to send off National Ice Cream Month with a bang, our one of our best-selling seasonal flavors.
I love that. Well, I don't know about you, but everyone listening, I think you need to stop what you're doing. And you need to run over to either Broad Street or head out to Germantown and go visit Sugar Ghost and try, if not that flavor, the Nutter Butter.
Well, you should get 2 scoops. You should get a scoop of nut and butter and a scoop of gooey butter cake together.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe even on a chocolate dip waffle cone.
Oh my.
Yeah.
That sounds so good.
So good, yes.
Okay, well, we could keep talking for hours. You can tune in on WYXR Radio every Thursday at 11, or listen wherever you get your podcast, iTunes or Spotify, or listen at dailymemphian.com.